Hey guys, we're back to episode
welcome
2.
back. Episode 2 of Journey to Us. So, how do you feel?
Oh.
How do you feel after episode 1?
I honestly thought it was going to be...
Being a mama here, fixing some things. Okay.
I honestly thought it would be a lot harder, but I'm so happy we're doing this. And I was actually I was thinking a lot clearer than I thought I would. I thought my thoughts would be all over the place, but
wow.
God is doing something, so I'm going to let him keep doing that thing.
Yes, keep doing it, Lord. Keep working on our behalf.
How do you feel?
So, I felt good. I really enjoyed episode 1, and I'm ready to journey on to episode 2.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, so this episode, because we're going to get right in, guys. Mm-hmm. This episode, we really want to talk about the difference of we were in the same relationship, having a different experience.
Yes.
So I always felt like I've explained and I've said to my children and to you, Jazmine, you can come to me anytime. You can talk to me about anything. I'm here. I'm always going to love you. And in my mind, I felt like you had a clear understanding of that. I felt like you knew that I love you. You knew that you can come to me about anything and I would guide and protect you. So tell me how you felt or saw our relationship, because I can imagine parents we always say this to our children, but for whatever reason, sometimes it doesn't translate. And I don't think I was the type of parent that said it and did something else. I don't think I was like, I'm going to whoop you. I don't think I was a terrifying parent that would make it hard for you to believe that I was actually there for you and I love you. And so how did you feel? Because that's how I felt about our relationship. I thought we were close. I thought you would tell me anything. That's how I felt.
I knew you loved me, and I knew I could come to you, but I didn't know how extreme the circumstance had to be in order for me to come to you. I didn't know if I could only come to you for this thing, or if I could come to you for something else. So I didn't really want to test it either. So
even though I said I love you and you can come to me about anything, you didn't feel like anything meant anything.
Yeah, I always thought like I didn't want it to be too much for you, for lack of a better word. Mm-hmm. I didn't want it to stress you or even disappoint you, because I knew where we stood on certain things. I knew what we believed in, what we were taught to believe in, and I knew what I would be telling you would go against all of that, and I didn't want you to be disappointed in me or be let down by me, so I just kept it to myself.
So when you had this internal conversation with yourself, you processed that there were things that you could possibly share with me that I wouldn't be able to handle.
Yeah. And I guess I needed an experience like the one we went through to see that is a lie from the devil himself, because that is not true at all. I've told you things that if I was my mom, I'm glad I don't have kids right now, because I would have been like, what? Ew. But you have shown me nothing but love and support, and even when you were probably scared yourself or you didn't know how to take something, I never knew that. You never showed me that in any way, and I just really appreciate that.
Yeah, I had I still do. I have a very strong support system. I have a very close community of women and friends that we believe the same things, and we really, really support each other. So in that time, I needed their support, and I had it. And I am so, so thankful. You know, parents, as we parent our children, sometimes we feel like it's us and our children against the world. And I felt that way several times, because there were moments in my life where I was a single parent, and I just felt like it was me against the world. But I'm so thankful that I serve a God that knows that we need community and we need people, and he's always faithful to surround us with what we need at the time when we ask, you know. And the one thing that I've asked for, not always verbally, or not always audibly, but in my heart, and I've always asked God to surround me with people that love me. and he was so faithful in that time. And sometimes when you're going through things as a parent or even as a person, if you have an army of soldiers to fight with you, the fight is so much easier.
Yeah.
When you're down and out and when you feel like you can't go no more, the army will pick you up and say, we got to keep going. We got to keep going. And more importantly, I saw the end, and I knew that the testimony would be beautiful because I knew the enemy was knocking at the wrong house. I knew that he was knocking at the wrong door because I know how my mom prays for me and my children and her generations. And I know how prayer works. I've seen it work in my own life. And so I knew, I was like, okay, I guess we knuckling up. I guess we at war, I guess we fighting. And when this fight is over, I don't want my child to say I didn't support her. Oh my gosh, the one thing that kept me is your testimony. And I knew it's weird because I saw you on a stage when all this happened in a weird way. Before it was even over, I saw you. God gave me a dream of you on a stage and you were talking to a large crowd of people. And I was sitting in the front. And while I was sitting in the front, you looked down at me and you said, the one thing I can say is my mom always supported me. My mom never made me feel less than. My mom supported and loved me throughout the entire process. And I smiled. And then I woke up. And that dream said to me, I felt like that dream was symbolic of, this is the end. And this is what you want your testimony to be in the end. So I saw the end and worked myself back. And I knew that I wanted your accounting of how I handled the situation to be one of love. I wanted that to be the story that you tell, that my mom loved me. She supported me. She walked me through this process and she was there for me. And it was hard at times. It did get hard. And I kept remembering the testimony. I kept remembering that dream that I had, and I kept remembering what you said. And so it was easy for me to be there for you because I knew God had already shown me that the battle was going to be won, And if you know the outcome, why stress? If you have faith in the one controlling the outcome, why live in fear? Now, it's not easy. I am going to say that. It's not easy because when God has shown you and tell you one thing and the enemy is fighting and showing you something else and you're seeing something else with your natural eyes, you have to remember what God told you. You have to have something that you're ultimately believing for. And I wanted to see God work in this. I just wanted to see him work, And so it definitely wasn't the hard thing to do. But I want you to tell me a little bit more about, or maybe you can shed some light into how the disconnect happens. How the disconnect from your parent showing you, because I'm sure this is a question that parents probably want to know. We shower you guys with love. We tell you over and over that we love you. We support you. We take care of you. We take you to school. We bring you back home. We buy food for you. We're like your biggest advocates. We're fighting the doctors. We're fighting nurses. Sometimes we're lying to our husbands. And, no, I didn't give her any money. Here you go. You know what I'm saying? And we're doing all these things and we're rallying around you all of your life. And then you become a teenager and you feel like we're not the ones to be trusted. Do you feel like I think it's a lie of the enemy. I think it's an attack of the enemy. Yeah. But what goes through your mind or what makes you constantly say to yourself that your parents doesn't like you as much as they say they do?
That's a packed question. Okay, so it doesn't happen overnight. I say that. I think the disconnect happens when we start to find ourselves and figure out what we like, who we are, and discover our identities and stuff. And I think our friends kind of not take the place, but they become more prominent in our lives. and we start to see you guys as just our parents, our caregivers, and we see our friends as the ones who get us, who really know us, and we start to be disconnected from you guys because it's like, you're my mom, you're my parent, but you're not my friend. And we tell our friends all of these things so we get closer to them, basically. And I also think it's because when we tell our friends certain things, we get their advice, we get their opinion, and we're like, we value their opinions more than yours. So we think we don't need you guys for your opinion anymore. So that's also another reason why we don't really come to you guys as much. But I think it's mainly just that separation. Like, you're my parent, you're only, I don't want to say you're only good, but your job is to provide for me, give me food, take me places. But my friends are the real emotional support, basically.
Yeah. You see your friends as the emotional support, and not your parents. And if there was something that you think we could do as parents to reverse the way how you guys process or you guys see that, or do you think it's just a natural coming of, it is just something that happens naturally and we have to go through things to know that your parents really do love you? Or do you think it's exposure, or do you think it's...
I think it's all of those things. I think it's unavoidable, but there are things you can do to help and to alleviate as much tension and stress as you can. I think the main thing is to just listen and to be open, because we are watching. I'll get more into this, but we are watching your reactions to certain things and how you handle certain things, and your reactions tell us exactly what we need to know about what we can come to you about and what we can't come to you about. So just be careful about the things you say about certain topics, about certain controversial topics and stuff like that. So just watch that. And the second thing is, show your kids that they can trust you, like I said in the first episode, basically. But those are the two main things.
So kind of like, I'm gonna take the first one last and the last one first. So meaning, do things that builds and establish trust in your relationship with your children. Whether it's trust activities or whether it's situations where you display that you trust them or that they can trust you. Right? And then something powerful that you said that I thought about in this whole process. What could have made it difficult for you to come to me? And I'm glad that you still came to me. Or what could have made the process difficult? Conversations that you may have overheard me saying. Or, not that I would, well, I don't think that I have outwardly bashed or say anything bad, but I think I have made my belief and my stance on certain things clear and made it known. And you could have overheard that and felt like my mom is definitely not going for this.
Yeah, because as an example, I remember we were watching a TV show or something, and something came up, and I just remember seeing your reaction. You just like pure disgust. And I was like, wow, that's how she feels. So if I tell her something along those lines, she's going to be disgusted in me. So that's what I got from it.
And what's weird is I can't remember acting in disgust. That could have been your interpretation,
No, it wasn't. No, you specifically said, ew, like you said, like you were like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, you were just, I could tell you were really disgusted by it, and I was just like,
oh my gosh. Wow. And things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think as we experience things, it forces us to grow. Mm-hmm. It forces us to see ourselves. It forces us to discover things about ourselves that we probably didn't know, or things about ourselves that we knew, but we never opened our hearts or even our mind to a understanding that people are people and people go through things. Like when you see somebody fall, sometimes you just can't help yourself. You just bust out laughing, not thinking until you fall and bust your behind open. Then you realize, ooh, that hurts. The next time I see somebody falling, maybe I shouldn't laugh. Maybe I should run over there and help them and ask them, hey, are you okay? Get up, And we go through things and things happen to us for us to learn and for us to grow and for us to be more aware of what we do and how we do what we do. And just be more enlightened about human beings and our need for love and appreciation and forgiveness and our need for growth. So definitely I would encourage you parents to learn from my mistakes in the sense of just being careful about, and that's the reason why God has told us to watch our words. Just being careful about what you say and how you say what you say. And yes, you can make your belief and stuff known in things. You should have standards. You should live by certain principles. And if you are a Christian, you should live by godly principles. And you can make them known. But on the same hand, our children need to see us walking in grace.
Yeah. Our
children need to see us walking in love and not in ridicule and not in condemnation and not in what's the word I'm looking for? Not in judgment. Yeah. Not living a life that's full of judgment towards different things and towards different situations, because at any given time it could be our children facing challenges in life, and all they can recall is the last time how we responded to somebody else, and they might associate that with what our response to them would be, which is so crazy, because this is going to sound like very hypocritical what I'm about to say right now.
I know what you're about to say, I think.
it's I'm going to say it this way. My friend could put on a hideous outfit, and I might say, girl, you look good. Girl, don't worry about that, you look good. And you see that same outfit to somebody else, and I'm like, ooh, girl, she knows she shouldn't have it. And that is the hypocrisy in it. Some things that we would look at other people and make a comment or say something, if our child was to come to us with that same thing, we would respond different.
Yeah,
but our children doesn't. Yes, but our children doesn't know that, because A, the enemy is talking to them, and B, all they have to go by is by what they see.
Yeah,
and if they see that you don't respond well to this situation, they're gonna assume you're not going to respond to them well, not knowing that you are my child. I'm going to give you all the grace in the world. But it comes back to, again, that selfishness. We can't be willing to extend the same grace to our children that we can extend to other people. Our children must see us walking in love, extending grace to any and everyone, so that they can know it's available to them. It's the same way with God. Truly, we see how he's treated people in the past. We see how he loves, how he forgives, and because we see it, we know that he'll do it to us. And it's the same thing we have to do as parents. We have to be very careful in what we model towards other people, because our children is looking at that as the example of how we probably would treat them and respond to them.
Yeah.
So, we're coming up on the end of this episode, but before we leave, we want to show you guys the letter.
The letter that started it all.
So the letter, after you wrote me the letter that started the journey, after you wrote me the letter, I dated it. Oh my gosh, I dated it.
19.
I dated it. I dated it. And I placed it in my Bible. And every so often I would look at it and stuff and then place it in my Bible. And so I placed the letter in my Bible. And the letter was January 24th, 2019.
4 years ago.
4 years ago already. Wow. And it says, read at work, mommy. Look at that. Read at work, mommy. So, before we leave, do you want to share? Do you want to read the letter?
Yeah.
Do you think
wow, this thing is... What happened to it?
Do you want to read the letter?
Oh, I haven't looked at this in a while.
You haven't seen it since you give it. Can you read it?
Yeah, I don't even remember what I put on here. Okay, here it goes.
Okay.
Mommy, I love you, and there's something important I want to tell you. High school is a place where you find yourself and experiment with new/different things. That's what I want to tell you about. Recently, I discovered I like girls. I know this is a phase, or maybe it's not. Whatever it is, I just hope you're not mad at me. I just want you to be able to trust me, and I want to be able to talk to you and tell you things. I hope you're not disappointed in me, Mommy, and I hope you can still trust us enough to go over to our friends' houses and make the right choices. I know God will guide me and help me through this stage of my life, and I hope you can be with me and also guide me through this. Love you again, Mommy. Jasmine. Oh, it's not so bad.
That's it. That's the letter. And that's the one part of the letter that I zoned in on was
I know God will guide me and help me.
I know God will guide me and help me through this stage of my life. That is it. I know God will guide me and help me through this stage of my life. Those words brought me so much peace and comfort. Those words just said to me that God is still in control. And you know he was still in control. And you were still trusting him to lead you and guide you through that phase of your life.
You want to know something?
What?
I'm pretty sure I just wrote that so that you would be... I didn't completely believe that. I just put it on there to kind of soften the blow a little bit.
But baby, you see.
But I wrote that, and it was a declaration because God was still helping me through that.
Yes.
I just thought I was making
being
my own
slick.
path, but yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what it is. And that's why Habakkuk says, write the vision and make it clear.
I didn't even know I was writing
it down. You wrote it down. You said, I know God will guide me and help me through that stage of my life. And even though you was probably being facetious, or you didn't even know why you write that, or you was writing it to console me,
yeah.
You wrote it down. You wrote it in ink, and that's the importance of writing things down. And even though you did that, that was so considerate of you to do that, because that brought me so much comfort, and that reminded me that God was still in it, and like you said, it was a declaration, and you may not have known why you did that, but God knew. God knew.
On
that note, we will pick up from here on our next episode.
See you guys.
Bye. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Let us know your questions, your thoughts, your ideas, your feelings, everything. Okay? Thank you guys. Bye.